Kathy from Bishop Stone Yarns, and I'd like to welcome you all here to episode 41 of the Bishop Stone Yarns podcast. This is a crafting podcast, and today I am talking mainly about knitting and sewing and a little bit of cross stitch. I am coming to you from Tasmania, which is the little island to the south of Australia, and you find me in the corner of my studio. For those people who are interested in where you can find me around the internet, you can find me on Facebook as Bishop Stone Yarns. You can find me on Instagram as Bishop Stone Yarns, and you can find me on Ravelry as Bishop Stone. And I also have a blog on Blogger called Bishop Stone Yarns, but I don't use that as often as I probably should. I don't really update it all the time, but it is there as well. So that's about it, really. It is April already, and April the 3rd, and so we are heading towards Easter, and looking forward to Easter. I'm kind of say that I think I say this every year, and a lot of people say it as well. I mean, how can we be already in April? I don't know where the year's gone. I don't know what's happened to the first couple of months, but I hope you enjoyed having a little look at my Easter display that I've put up. I've got some of my little knitted chickens or ducks there that I did last year. I actually haven't done any Easter knitting this year. I'm not sure why. I haven't really got around to it, I guess. And for some reason, I had thought that I would also have done some Easter cross stitches. So I was looking forward to having some Easter bunnies or something like that to have on my display. But maybe that is something I can look forward to doing for next year and adding to my display for next year. But apart from that, what have I been doing? Well, first of all, I have a finished object, and it is here behind me. It is the Birkin by Caitlin Hunter. This is my second Birkin. So my first Birkin is this one here, which I did in, these are both done in my hand spun, which I had spun during Tour de Fleece. So if you're a returning viewer and if you remember that long ago, last year, this is all the wool that I spun up for that. So this was the dark version with just one colour for the yoke. And as I was saying, this one was a little bit, the yoke, as you can see, is quite long and comes a long way down. And so I decided that when I came around to doing the light Birkin, which the camera is not really picking up the colours particularly well, I might do a little video to add at the end so you can see it a little bit better. But the colours do show up a little bit more than that, but it is still a very subtle pastel coloured top. So what I decided to do when I made this one, since this one was just, the yoke was a little bit too long for me, I decided to go down a size in the pattern, and I've just left out, where is it, the last kind of like 4 or so rows here in the yoke, and then went on to the final motif. So this one fits me so much better. I'm very happy with it. I'm really happy with the colors. This was wool and alpaca, which I had blended up. So I had some white alpaca and like a very, very light brown merino that I kind of carded up together and spun. And I'm really, really happy with how it looks and how it's come out. It does have some darker areas here where I haven't blended it as well. Because there was so much to blend, I must admit I was a little bit over it towards the end, and so some bits I didn't blend as well as I probably should have. But I'm really, really happy with the way it turned out. I'm really happy that it's not just a pure white, because I'm not sure that I really wanted a pure white kind of jumper. So I'm really happy with that, and I'm really happy with how the colours have worked out and how well, and how well it fits. The only thing I wasn't sure about was this one here. Oh, if I can turn it around. It has the split hem, which I did the split hem on the blue jumper, and I was quite happy with the way it looked. I'm not sure. This one is slightly shorter. I did make this one slightly shorter than the blue one. So we'll see how the split hem goes. If I don't actually like it, I might end up just sewing it together like this. But I'll wear it a bit first and see what I think about it. So I am really, really happy that I have finished that. And then I guess in the theme of having two of things, what I'm wearing is my ranunculus. And so this was, I knitted this last year, and this was knitted with one strand of wool and one strand of mohair. Then my daughter said that she would like a ranunculus, so I started knitting her one in all white. I have talked about this a lot, so I'm just not going to go into too much detail for it at the moment. I'll talk about it a bit more again once I've finished it. And so hers is one strand of white wool and one of white mohair. And I haven't done a great deal since last time. I have got down to the cuffs. You can see here. Well, I don't know if you can see or not, but I've come down to the cuffs. I've got to the end, and I just need her to try this on to see whether or not it is the right length in the sleeves for her. And I was saying that actually I wouldn't mind knitting myself another ranunculus, because it's such an easy and quick, even though this has been taking a while because I've had to set it to the side until my daughter comes around and tries it on. But so you can see this is one in colour and this is one in white, but I was thinking the white could actually be quite nice, or I could do it in another colour, of course. I don't know, but I mean the white does look nice. I really, really like this aqua colour that I made for myself. But so that's the tiny bit of knitting that I have done on my ranunculus, and so I'll just pop that away and talk about that more when I've finished it, which hopefully will be before the the next knitting podcast that I do. And what other knitting have I been doing? Well, last time I was talking to you about, I had a couple of unfinished projects that I was hoping to finish, which I still haven't finished. One was my little frog body. So I haven't done his legs yet, but he is in my queue, and I have started with my little pig here, putting him, just sewing him together, sewing his little legs together. I've sewed his little head together, and now it's just time to, I've left his tummy open here, you can see, so I can start stuffing my little pig from there, and then he will be finished. So he and the frog will be finished by next podcast. And then, even though I showed you these two last time, I haven't actually done any work on these or finished these off at all. I haven't given them their little noses and faces or made the ears for this one. But instead of finishing these off, which I should have done, I'll just sit them there together, I have, of course, started another one. A little girl. I'll just turn her around. You can see her from behind. So I just need to sew her up, and I do have her little arms in here as well, which need to be sewn up and popped on there. And then I think once I finish her, I will do all three. I'll pop up the eyes and noses and ears on all three. So I just was quite surprised actually when I was knitting her. I just thought I would just use leftover bits that I had. And then I kind of thought, oh, very Christmassy looking really, which is kind of funny because it is Easter. And you would have thought that I would have chosen colours that were a bit more, maybe a bit more like Easter rather than Christmassy. Hello! But I really like the colours. I really like those. So I'm really happy with the colours that I chose for that. Now, to knit this, is, as you can see, it has all the pieces are just knitted flat and then seamed up. Same with the body here, it's all in one piece and then she'll be seamed up. So I had to go back and have a look through my old knitting needles, so which I don't really use my straight needles much anymore. But these are the needles that I found, and I don't know what brand they are, but they've got this really cute, can you see that? Is that like a little dog, or I'm not quite sure what animal it is, but it looks like a little dog to me on there. And they are 2 and 3. Oh, is the camera going to focus on that? 2 3/4 millimeters. My camera is not going to focus. Oh, you'll have to take it from me that they are 2 3/4 millimeters, and so that's what I've been knitting them on. I have been using just leftover bits and pieces in my stash. These, I think this blue and the yellow here, these are both leftover pieces from these were from the Bendigo Woolen Mill, and I think they are 8-ply. I think they're DK weight, and I had used these a long time ago to knit a K-Facet vest for my husband in. That was a long time ago, so I thought it was about time I started trying to use up all these leftover bits and pieces. From there I have this lovely red one here. I can just, it's only a tiny bit of this left now, lovely red speckled yarn, which I've had for quite a while. And I think this was another yarn that I had left over from a cardigan that I had made. So it's a good way to use up all those little bits and pieces. Now, for those people who saw my last knitting podcast, I talked about this last time. So the pattern that I was using for these bears is from this book, which is The Family Circle, Treasury of Dolls and Cuddly Toys. So just been using the pattern out of there to knit those. And I think that's all the knitting that I have been doing. What else have I been doing? Well, what has been taking up my time? I have to, excuse me for the crinkling here, I have been doing a little bit of spinning, and I will talk about this on my next podcast in 2 weeks, which will be a spinning podcast. But I have been spinning up some beautiful blue, it's not blue at all, some beautiful pink merino wool. And if you're interested in learning a bit more about that, I will talk about that in my next podcast. So I have been doing a bit of spinning, and then I have been doing some cross stitch, and I've been doing some hand sewing. So just bear with me for a minute while I just get my cross stitch out. I have been keeping my cross stitch in this cute little basket, and I am working on, I can find the, here we go. I have been working on Buzz Off by Plum Street Samplers. And so I have been doing a little bit of work on that. And put my basket down. This is where I am up to at the moment. So I have finished the bird and I am just starting on the very top of the beehive here. And I don't know why I was surprised, but I always surprise myself by, I didn't realize it was going to be quite as big as it is. This is the cross stitch that I had finished previously, and for some reason I was thinking it was probably going to be about the same size as that, but I think, as you can see, it's going to be a lot bigger because there's still more of the pattern and garden over here, and by the time this finishes it's going to be kind of down somewhere about here, I think. So he or she will be a really nice kind of autumny. Well, I think because of the colours, to me it kind of, I think of it as being autumny. But hopefully once I finish this one I will I don't know, will I start working on Christmas things, or will maybe I'll start a Christmas one and an Easter one at the same time. But I've been really enjoying doing the bird, and so I've been spending a fair bit of time on doing that, and that's been taking up most of my time really. I haven't done a lot else. I will show you yeah, I think I'll just stop for a moment and I will go and grab my quilt that I'm working on, my applique quilt. Okay, I am back, and this is what I guess has been taking up most of my time. Ooh, where are we? Most of my time. So it's a Midnight Silhouette by Blackbird Designs. And I just really liked the Halloweeny, autumny kind of theme. When I got it home, of course, I realized that this wasn't I was thinking of it as a wall hanging. Then I realized that it was a lot bigger. It was like the size of a normal size quilt. So I thought I would divide it into two parts by doing this central panel as just like as one wall hanging, and then just using the stars as a second kind of part of the wall hanging. So then I would have two separate wall hanging quilts for Halloween time and for autumn time, instead of one big huge massive quilt that I wouldn't be able to probably display anywhere. So what I have been doing, because I'm doing this all by hand, and I really like hand sewing. I really like the slowness of it and just working on it. So I don't know how is the best way to show this. So I will probably try and take a photo later. So I have done the cat, and I'm just working on the vine at the side here now. Oh, it's yes, quite tricky to show you, so we'll have to try and take a photo. But this is what I have been working on, and at the moment I've just finished doing the berries and the flower. Yep. I'm just, yes, no, it's not going to work, is it? I'm not going to show you. But so I'm slowly working my way through that, and I'm sure this is going to be one of those projects. It's going to be an ongoing project, but I do want this finished by October. I want it finished before Halloween, so that means not just finishing the front and the applique, but actually putting it together so I can display it for this Halloween or this October, I think. I was a bit worried about the cat. I wasn't sure whether his face was looking cat-like or not, but he's up there now and he's going to stay as he is. I actually think if I was redesigning this, I would have maybe put a few little, like when I was sewing it on, or I could even go back and do it, but I don't know. You can take some black, really thin black lines along here as if he's scared and his hairs are standing up on his back. But I really like the black cat. We used to have a beautiful black cat, a three-legged black cat called Ted, and yeah, Ted was absolutely gorgeous. He used to rule the house. He was in charge of the dogs. He would sit in the door and stop any of the dogs from coming through the door until he moved out of the way. And he was a cat that could kill with a stare. He had a grumpy face look. And yeah, you knew if he was grumpy, you would just leave him alone. Don't talk to him. But he was a lovely cat. But yeah, so I like my cat on there. So I think that's what I will be working on. I'll be doing, I think I will end up doing a fair bit more stitching between now and next time, both on my quilt and on my cross stitch. I will have a go at finishing my little bears and the pig, and hopefully I will make Frog his legs, and I think that's about it really. I hope everyone has had a really nice crafting time, and thank you very much for spending some of your time with me to see what I've been up to. If you've liked the video, give it the thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe if you'd like to, because that helps me out here. And please always feel free to leave a comment. I love to hear what everyone thinks, or what they've been doing, what they've been making, or any thoughts about what I've been doing. And I'll catch up with you later. Bye.